Hi everyone! Happy New Year! I know we're we're already like halfway, not even halfway through the month, but this is my first live of the new year. Thank you for joining me. I'm so glad that you decided to hang out with me on Friday night. I know there's a lot of other things that you guys can be doing. So for those who are wanting to dedicate to learning, I hope that this live you'll find it helpful and that you can get going on it. So one thing that has come up, well, first of all, this is my first live since early November, so it's been about 2 months, and I might be a little rusty, but I couldn't wait to get back and connect with you online beauty bosses. So again, thanks for joining me. But okay, so this is what's been coming up in the groups. Or I've seen it and I'm like, So occasionally, every so often, someone will post, which is fine because I understand. They'll post and say, how do you get online sales? Especially now because the incentives are going on and Avon is encouraging us to encourage our customers to go online. And so we have some great incentives coming out, which I'm sure you're all aware of. But so I know a lot, having online sales right now, having your customers get on board, that's the big topic. And I'm sure that has come up. You guys have been thinking about it. But one of the questions is, how do you get online sales? How do you do it? It's so baffling. I don't understand it. Or I've tried everything. So when I hear someone say, I've tried everything, I think, that's interesting that you've tried everything, because I've been selling online for, I've been an Avon rep coming up in February. It'll be 9 years, but I've been exclusively selling online for 8 years. And I have to tell you right now that I still have not done everything. Now, you have to think of online sales as something that is always a work in progress. And what you learn yesterday, what you've learned, or what I've learned even 8 years ago, may not or hasn't applied now, flash forward in this present day. So it's a constant learning and keeping up. And I hate to say this, and I'm sure you've all heard this before, but there really is no silver bullet. So if you're starting from scratch, yes, it's going to take time, and it's going to take that desire to learn, and then even when you learn it, to implement it, and then even once you implement it, to evaluate and to see if what you've done is working. And if it's not working, then you have to go back to the drawing board and either change it up a bit, improve it, or just do what you can, or just, nix it and just start with something else. So that's just my little insight there as far as selling online. As I mentioned, I've been selling online exclusively for 8 years, and my customers are all online. I don't have any face-to-face customers because I built that business. But as you're starting now, just try not to get discouraged and know that it is work. It is work. I mean, I'm always working. Always, I have my laptop in front of me while I'm watching TV. Either I'm posting a blog or I'm doing something on Instagram. So, it's always a work in progress. So it's not something like that you can just set and forget and all these sales are going to be coming in, because you may be on vacation one day and maybe getting sales in when you're on vacation or taking that time off. But for me, when that happens, there's because I've prepared a week, 2 weeks in advance to work, for those sales to come in later. So there is some preparation. But with that said, I don't want you to get discouraged, because this is what our group is all about. It's about learning. It's about getting you on board, and then just learning those tutorials and those step-by-steps. So now, with that said, we're going to talk about tonight is the 10 steps to creating your Avon blog. Now, I tried to simplify this as easily as I could because there are some steps, and I know that a lot of people aren't blogging right now because it's hard to get set up. So I tried to simplify it as much as I could. There are 10 steps, but each step within, there's little steps. So just bear with me, stick with me, and as we're going through the video, you can take some notes, and then also I'll be posting it up in the group as well, and we'll be chunking it out so that your brain doesn't explode. But I did try to get the most simplest because even back 8 years ago when I set up my blog, I have to tell you it was hard. And I know it's hard. I know it's hard for someone who isn't as tech savvy or who's a little intimidated about getting online. So, I hear you and I know that. So I really wanted to try to make this as simple as I could. So as you're watching it and you're like, man, that's not simple at all, just believe me that outside of this, it's a lot harder. So let's get started. And first we're going to talk about why have a blog. So one of the reasons, the benefit of having a blog is it's going to extend your customer reach and help you to connect more with customers. It's going to get you out of that Facebook sandbox and get you out into the internet. So when you have your blog, not only are you going to be able to share it with your new customers, with people who are searching for Avon, but you're going to be out there more. And so that's a good thing because you're not going to be limited to Facebook. And let's face it, a lot of people nowadays, they're a little leery of Facebook. Maybe some of them don't want to be on anymore. As Avon reps, we're on Facebook a lot, but and it is still one of the largest platforms, but we need to be able to expand our reach outside of Facebook. So with the blog, what you can do is you can think of your blog as a virtual house call. So this is where you're going to show your expertise. This is where you're going to be able to express yourself as an Avon rep. You're going to be able to write your reviews. You're going to be able to express to your customers what's on sale, and you can write in a way that is a little more detailed and a little more customer friendly. So it's like you're talking to them as a friend, whereas versus a Facebook post that's really, quick and more salesy. So that's one of the benefits of having a blog. And then now you may be thinking as you're watching this, like, I have no idea what a blog is. Like, what the heck is a blog? So these are the things that may be keeping you from having a blog if you don't have one now, or maybe you were able to get one up, but it's sitting there and you don't know what to do with it. So are these keeping you from having your own blog? First, as I mentioned, what's a blog? Well, you can think of your blog as an online journal. And the way how it got the word blog, it was back in the early internet days, people had web blogs. And then you would say a web blog, and then it just turned into blog. So it's a shortened word for blog. So don't let the word scare you. All it is web blog combined together. And then the next thing is, it scares me. I can understand if you feel like you're not very tech savvy and the steps, just looking at it just looks daunting and overwhelming. But don't let it scare you, because really what a blog is just another way to communicate. So you have your Facebook, you have your social media. If you like to write, if you like to express yourself, if you like to take pictures of yourself, of your Avon products, this is also another platform where you can share all that Avon expertise that you have and all the things that you just want to share about that you might not be able to have time when you're talking to your customers one by one. So it's just a way of communicating. And then second is that you may be thinking, I'm not a techie. All this techie stuff, I have no idea what to do. But it's okay, because as blogging, it does not require any coding. The main thing is that to get started, you will need to sit down and follow the steps by steps. Just think of it as a recipe, just like when you're making a cake and you're looking at the back of the box. Well, I make my cakes out of a box, but you're looking at the recipe and it's like, okay, step 1, turn the oven on. Step 2, get your eggs. That's basically what is going to be required when you start your blog. So think of this whole how-to as a recipe. So we're going to have 10 little recipe cards, and I'm going to help you get through each step. So anyone can do it. You don't have to be techie, especially with this how-to that we're going to be going through. And then second, it takes too much time. Yeah, I get it. It does take a lot of time. And I have to be honest with you, I lately have not been consistent in writing new blog posts. But the thing is that just like your Avon business, you can do it at your own time. So you can start a blog post, you can start writing about something, save it for later, and then come back. So it can be done anytime on your schedule. And then when you're ready to make it public, then you just click the button and it's public. It could take you a whole week to make a blog post, but that's okay because it's on your schedule. And then next is I don't know where to start. It's all so confusing, and I get it. It is confusing. I don't even know where to start. I tried, a lot of people have tried the free blogs, the WordPress.com, which is a free blog, and it's fine to get started. But the thing about WordPress.com is that it puts you also in a sandbox, and you have to abide by their rules. They have certain things that you can write about, that you can't write about. So in this how-to, we're going to be using WordPress, but it's the hosted version. So I'm going to show you where to start so that you're not in that WordPress.com sandbox. This is going to be your own free reign blog. And then next, it's too hard to set up. Well, today it's not. I mean, it's going to take time, believe me. And I know it is hard to set up the old way. And like I mentioned, when I first set up, I had no idea what was a blog, and I had to go through Google, and I had to find out even what it was. I had to do video tutorials on YouTube and I just kind of fledged my way through. And even years later, after making my blog, there were still things that I didn't understand until I was like, oh, that's what that button's for. So yes, I get it. But today, I'm going to try to simplify it as much as I can. And if you want to follow these steps, if you really are interested in blogging, then following these steps, it might take you a couple of hours, but you'll be running in no time, and you'll have a nice, pretty blog that will look nice and clean, and that will be ready for customers to come in and start reading about your Avon products, your Avon experience, and your Avon reviews. Okay, so going next, let's get started. So when we're done with this how-to, this is how your blog can look. You can have a similar blog. Now, you don't have to use the image or the colors, but basically, you're going to have the top part with your title, and you'll have the images, but it's a nice, clean setup, and it's very nice. So if you really want to pursue this, then this is what the product will be after we're done with this. So get ready, get your drink, because we do have the 10 steps. And like I said, each step, some steps will be more detailed, some will be less. But as this how-to is going to be recorded, and then I'll put it in a nice, I guess like a tutorial. so that then when you're ready, then you can go and refer back to it and just take your time going through each steps. Okay, so now let's get started. And as I mentioned that this how-to, I'm trying to make it as easy as possible. Now, I've had several over the years as I've had my blog. I started with GoDaddy, and then I moved to another hosting company, which was, I don't even remember. I think I've been through 5 hosting companies with my personal sales blog for Avon. And each time the very first time I did it, it was a chore trying to set up. And now I have another blog for recruiting, and that one was a little bit easier to set up. And now I actually, this past holiday, I set up the online beauty bosses blog, which was much easier to set up. And the reason why is because I did some research and I found Bluehost, and you may have already heard of Bluehost, but from all the other hosting companies that I've found, Bluehost seemed to have the easiest setup, and they have an exclusive hosting platform for WordPress itself, so they make it easy. So they have a WordPress hosting, what would you call it, a hosting plan, and it's exclusively for WordPress, which if you're not familiar with WordPress, WordPress is the most popular blogging platform around. And so if someone has a blog, more than likely they're using WordPress. So with this hosting company, it's exclusively for WordPress, and basically they set it up for you. There's no, when you log in, it just automatically starts. Where back in the day when I did it, I had to set up my database, my SQL database. I had to set up my FTP account. I mean, there were just like all these techie things where it was just really hard. So now it's just one click. With this plan, you'll get a free domain. So just like a domain name is basically the website address. So as you're signing up, you'll be able to have your own domain, and it's affordable at only $5.95 a month. So there is a cost. So at $5.95 a month, you get a free domain name, you get your blog, and then you get the hosting. Now, for me, I think that's worth it because the payoff is that you're going to be able to communicate better with your customers. When you have something that you want them to know about, you can write it in a blog post, send them the link in email, send them the link in a text. For those, some of you guys have Shuffle. Now, I don't use Shuffle because for me, I feel like there's no need for it because I just send them a link to my blog, and I can give them much more information with an image of myself. And it's a lot easier because I have that blog already for them.